Hey everyone, Alex coming at you with another Ultraman related podcast. Today's podcast isn't really going to be relating to Ultraman Orb per se. However, Ultraman Orb will be mentioned in this podcast, but this won't be an Ultraman Orb, the series related podcast. And the reason why I feel like these won't be coming out related to Ultraman Orb as much is because number one, the main series is over, and number two, I am aware that the Orb Origin Saga miniseries is currently out. But thing is, I tried to download the episode thanks to Methyl Kaiju's link, and the process is just long, complex, and I don't really understand it. So at the moment, I don't really feel like trying to learn the process because I'm just a very lazy person. So I'm probably gonna wait for KissAsian.com or Crunchyroll to subtitle the rest of the episodes. But for now, this podcast is just gonna be relating to Ultraman Belial because I like making these Ultraman podcasts where I get to give my thoughts, and this video is really just going to be me giving my thoughts and opinions on Ultraman Belial. And for those of you guys who have seen the final episode of Ultraman Orb, then you probably might know why I might want to make this kind of podcast. But if you have not seen Ultraman Orb or any of the Ultraman movies that I will be mentioning, then I think you should probably leave the video if you don't want to have any spoilers spoiled to you. So, anyway, I just want to talk about Ultraman Belial, and I just want to give my personal experience, because everyone really likes to share their personal experience about a certain Ultra character. Like, for example, Ryan Zeton says how much he has nostalgia with certain characters like Birdon or Imperializer, and especially Zeton. So I just thought I would talk about, my personal experience with Ultraman Belial. So when I saw Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legend, this was in a time where I didn't really see too much of the Ultraman like series and franchise. I had seen the original Ultraman series, Ultraman Tiga. I'd also seen Ultraman Max and Ultraman Mebius, so it was a pretty good amount of Ultra series that I've seen. But I never watched the Mega Monster series in of itself, which, to be honest, if you watch the movie, it's not really going to spoil anything from the main series, from what I can tell. I mean, of course, you might be a bit confused to who Zap Spacey is, but I was already kind of aware of who Zap Spacey was because I saw clips of the episodes and series from YouTube. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm aware of who these people are. So anyway, I'm just going to talk about Ultraman Belial. So when I first saw Ultraman Belial, I was just amazed at how Ultraman Belial was able to take on Ultraman Taro, and Ultraman Max, and Ultraman, Ultra 7, Ultraman Zafi, Ultraman Jack, Ultraman Ace, Ultraman Mebius, Ultraman Ikari, and then later on Ultra Mother and Ultra Father. Now, I was really shocked at how much Ultraman Belial just destroyed M78 and just demolished everything in his path. And then he took the Plasma Spark, which froze all the Ultras. And as soon as I saw them of it, I was just thinking, this is probably the darkest moment in Ultra history. Every single Ultra has been frozen. Ultraman Belial is on the loose. And now he's in the monster graveyard, raising an army of 300 monsters. It's like, who's going to stop Ultraman Belial from conquering the universe? I mean, it's enough that Ultraman Belial has pretty much just destroyed M78 in a sense. Not really destroyed it, but they made the Ultras there unable to fight because now they're frozen, and one of the core weaknesses of an Ultra is the cold. And, one of the main examples of cold weakening an Ultra was an Ultra 7, when Ultra 7's human host Damorobochi was in the freezing cold, and he was weakened by the cold, and that's why Ultra 7 didn't really transform too much of the episode, along with the fact that he lost his eye spark, ultra glasses, or whatever they're called. I just forgot the name of them for some reason, all of a sudden. But yeah, the cold actually can affect Ultraman characters and such. So this was really just a tough moment for the good Ultras of Light, because there was really no hope for them. And then you have Ultraman Zero that just seemingly pops up out of nowhere. This Ultraman character that was never mentioned in the Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy series and was never seen in prior series just pops up and says, hey everyone, I have absolutely no fighting experience, but all of a sudden I can take on the most powerful Dark Ultra since Dark Zagi. Alright, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, real quick, I know this podcast is about Ultraman Belial, but let me just say something that Super Eye Production does. And I don't blame them for this because they are a marketing and financial company, and I guess they don't want their company and their product to get repetitive. But it seems like every time there's an Ultraman that serves as the poster boy or the image of Super Eye Productions, along with of course some of the more classic Ultras, the next year they get replaced by another Ultra that completely just puts them down, and you kind of forgot, or you kind of feel really sad that their series is over. Now you got like a new Ultra. I mean, it's happened to Ultraman Mebius. Ultraman Mebius was like the premier Ultra of the early 2000s. I mean, sure, we had Ultraman Nexus, but as much as I love Ultraman Nexus wasn't the biggest success in Japan. So when you had Ultraman Mebius, that came right after Ultraman Max, Ultraman Max was good, but then as soon Ultraman Max was forgotten by everyone as soon as Ultraman Mebius burst onto the scene, because Ultraman Mebius had a lot of classic monsters. It had a secondary Ultra like Ultraman Hikari, and it mostly tied in a lot better with the Showa universe compared to Ultraman Max, which was just independently by itself. Which I loved Ultraman Max too, but Ultraman Mebius really took over as like the poster boy for Super Eye Productions. I mean, Ultraman Mebius was really an interesting character and had a lot of development because he was the rookie Ultra. He learned from his Ultra superiors. And you can even tell that in the first few episodes, Ultraman Mebius isn't perfect. He causes a lot of destruction in his fights. He's not very skilled. And he even suffers from a rivalry with Ultraman Hikari, aka the Knight Tsurugi. So when you really see all this go down, you see how much Ultraman Mebius progresses into a really powerful Ultra up until the end of the series when he defeats Alien Emperor and gets a new form. And then in the movies, where of course he even sides with his fellow Ultra Superiors to defeat even bigger threats. So when you really get that sense, Ultraman Mebius started off as a young Ultra to being really powerful among the Ultra Garrison. But then you have Ultraman Zero, who is the son of Ultra 7, and is probably as young, if not slightly older than Ultraman Mebius, and he's really had no fighting experience against any monsters, and all of a sudden Ultraman Zero is like way more powerful than Ultraman Mebius. I mean, it's just like, good lord, Ultraman Zero just kicked Ultraman Mebius out of the promotional logos and such. And then you got Ultraman Zero. Ultraman Zero gets Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legend. Then he gets his own movie series and even his own mini-series, Ultra Zero Fight. And then appears in Ultraman Saga. And Ultraman Zero has been the poster boy for Ultraman Zero for Super Eye Productions for a good number of years. But then Ultraman Ginga came in. And you're just like, oh snap, it's Ultraman Ginga. And Ultraman Zero just gets pushed off to the side. And then Ultraman X comes in, and Ultraman Zero gets pushed off as like a mentor to help Ultraman X, but he's still not like the main poster boy anymore. Now he's just like a side Ultra character that comes in to help the new guys. And it's really funny relating to this because I'll probably mention this in so many times, but I was watching the stage show. It had Ultraman Zero, the original Ultraman, and Ultraman X. And as soon as Ultraman Orb, appears to rescue everyone from like the monsters in the stage show, Ultraman Zero says something in Japanese, but I just kind of laugh and just think that Ultraman Zero is like, who is this other Ultra? Oh no, another Ultra coming to replace my image as the poster boy of Super Eye Productions. What happened when I used to be the main star of the Super Eye Productions? Now it's all these other newbie Ultras. But anyway, I'm not going to be talking about Ultraman Zero. I probably got really off topic. But I was going to talk about Ultraman Belial. So going on back to Ultraman Belial, as I was saying, Ultraman Belial was a really big threat to the Light Ultras, of course. He froze M78. He defeated all the Ultra Garrison members, with a few exceptions here and there, of course. And he resurrected a 300 monster army. And he had the most powerful weapon in the universe, the Giga Battlenizer Staff. Now, in the Mega Monster series, we've seen characters like Ray and all the other characters and the villains use the Battlenizers to summon monsters like Gamora, Goza, Zeton, and such. But now, Ultraman Belial has the most powerful version of a Battlenizer, the Giga Battlenizer. And with this staff, you can't just summon monsters like in the Mega Monster series. You can also resurrect monsters from the dead. So that pretty much makes it almost unstoppable. And then finally, you have Ultraman Zero. You get this epic battle between Ultraman Zero and Ultraman Belial. The son of Ultra 7 is getting redemption for his dad's defeat. And he defeats Ultraman Belial, of course. And then Ultraman Belial, as big as a villain he comes back, after being defeated by Ultraman Zero, and just a few minutes later, and makes Barriadora, which is all the monsters combined along with Ultraman Belial himself, of course, because he's so charismatic and arrogant. He puts himself on top of this Barriadora monster, and it's pretty much all 300 monsters combined. So all the Ultras, Ultraman Zero, Ultraman Mebius, Gamora, Ultraman Leo and Astra, they all team up along with Cap Space, and a bunch of other characters who are probably there that I kind of forgot at the moment, to destroy Barrydor. And Belial gets, of course, defeated and casted away, and you never see him until, like, close to the end of the movie, like, the very end of the movie, that he's still alive. And then Ultraman Belial appears, and right after the next movie, Ultraman Zero Revenge of Belial. Now, in my opinion, this movie wasn't really as good in a sense as the previous movie. The previous movie was like the grand scale battle versus good versus evil. But in this video, it's mostly Ultraman Zero becoming like every other Ultra. I mean, I kind of liked Ultraman Zero being his own independent character, because when you watch the other Ultraman series, the Ultramen are just like the characters that the human characters transform into, because the human characters have personalities and such. Like, I mean, if you ever watched the original Ultraman series, the original Ultraman didn't really have much of a personality. He didn't really talk. All he did was just transform whenever the human needed him, and then fight off the monster. The only time he really ever needed to talk, per se, was in the first episode, and I believe in the last. I'm pretty sure there were some other instances where Ultraman did kind of talk to an alien or a monster, but otherwise, he was a very serious character and very straightforward and such. So really, when you really think about it, the Ultraman characters don't really have personalities. They just help out the human characters, but they're not like emotionally driven characters, really. They're just doing their duty and their mission, which in a sense, they're like soldiers, you know? They're not really supposed to have emotions. They're ordered by Ultraman King to maintain balance in the universe. They're not going to be like getting happy or angry, really. I mean, there are some moments, but I mean, they're still like very loyal soldiers to Ultraman King in the universe. But what I liked about Ultraman Zero is that Ultraman Zero actually had a personality. And then when you see him in the next movie, Ultraman Zero gets a human host, and you're just like, okay, I mean, you didn't need one in the first movie. What's the whole relevance about this character? And then Ultraman Zero pretty much runs around with the princess of this planet. I don't even remember, because I didn't watch the movie with subtitles, nor did I read the Ultraman wiki. It's been like 3 years since I read like the wiki article. But Ultraman Zero runs, and his human host runs around with all these kids. And, well, not really the kids, but I mean, the princess is kind of a kid in a sense, teenager or whatever. And, you know, I gotta watch the movie with subtitles. It's actually on KissAsian.com. I just watched the movie just for what it was, but I never watched it with subtitles. So in the movie, of course, Ultraman Zero goes around, trying to defeat Belial's empire, and it gets really weird. Like, Ultraman Belial goes from being a lone warrior who can summon any monster he wants, to being more of like the sinister villain that stays in the shadows and has his own henchmen and robots do the work for him. It's like Ultraman Zero kind of downgraded in a sense. I would have rather seen this form of Belial appear first, and then see the Mega Monster Galaxy Legend Belial appear in the final movie of the Zero Saga. Because in that movie, Ultraman Belial was given so much build-up and was set up to be the strongest character. But right after Ultraman Zero had defeated Belial, then it kind of dragged Belial down in terms of his power and ranking as an evil villain. So, of course, Ultraman Belial fights off Ultraman Zero. It's a cool fight, but I don't think it's as epic as the last one. And then Belial transforms into this other form, Arch Belial. What I never really understood about Arch Belial or Arch Belial is that if Ultraman Belial can transform into like a monster version of himself, and you can even say the same thing for Camilla. Or Camila, whichever one you want to call her, from the Ultraman Tiga Final Odyssey movie, she could transform into D-Man Zoa, which is a monster using the power of Katana Zoa. So if Dark Ultras can transform into monsters, can Light Ultras do the same thing too? I've always wondered that. Like, you know, like Dark Ultras, like I said before, Camila and Ultraman Belial can transform into monsters. Even Dark Zagi was supposed to have a more monster-looking form, but they scrapped the design, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not sure if I would have liked Dark Zagi more. I think I just kind of like the Dark Ultra form himself. Maybe they could have that appear in a movie if they want to make Dark Zagi the villain again, which I think would be great if they brought him back. But personally, I really just prefer the Ultra form of Dark Zagi. You know, that's just me personally. But again, I mean, Dark Ultras, as I stated before, with Ultraman Belial on the roster, can transform into monster-like beings. So I was just wondering, how come Light Ultras can't do that? I mean, I thought the light was stronger than the darkness, because from what I've seen, the darkness kind of has a bit more modes. But anyway, back to what I was saying about Ultraman Belial. So Ultraman Belial takes on the Zero crew, the Zero Squad, as I like to call them. Ultraman Zero, Mirror Knight, Glenfire, and Genebot. Or is it Geneborg, or is it Gene 9? I don't know, I get them all mixed up. There's so many Gene robots. Like, good God, who can keep track? But anyway, the Zero Squad, of course, beats Arch Belial, whichever one you want to call him. and then he gets destroyed. So you have two ultimate forms of Belial get destroyed, and the second time he even appeared wasn't even that great of a movie in my opinion. I mean, I thought the movie was good, but it wasn't like as entertaining or as action packed or story driven as the first previous one was. I mean, sure, we got to see some Ultraman Zero and Ultra 7 bonding together when they fought off the Darklopses, but then even the Darklopses got downgraded because in the previous side story movie, Darklops was like as strong as Ultraman Zero. All of a sudden, the Darklopses are weaker than, I don't know, they're weaker, they're just really weak. I can't come up with a comparison, but it's like droids in a sense in Star Wars, like a droid, like for example, could be really powerful, and then later on they just become a bunch of foot soldiers. That's basically what happened to the Darklops. They just became weak. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, Ultraman Belial, he was dead, and he didn't appear again. Then you have Ultraman Saga, where Ultraman Zero reappears with Ultraman Cosmos and Ultraman Dyna to fight off the likes of Alien Bat and Hyper Zeton. So Belial's gone. And then they make the Ultra Zero fight series. And in my opinion, I feel like Belial really kind of downgraded. Like, I don't know how to explain this. This series was good, but at the same time, it was kind of meh. Like, Belial went from being on top of M78 to being on this random planet with his own crew, just like Ultraman Zero. Like, Ultraman Belial went from being the equivalent of the devil in Ultraman to the equivalent of just being a random villain that you would just see. And although Ultraman Belial did possess Ultraman Zero to form the Darkness Zero and then re-emerge as with his crew known as the Darkness 5, I believe was what they were called. But then later on, Ultraman Belial, he actually fights Ultraman Zero inside his consciousness, and I thought Ultraman Zero really finished off Belial. I mean, my only complaint about Belial in this fight is that before Zero actually defeats Belial, Belial and Zero actually fight in the physical world, in a sense. Like, physically they fight, not like in their consciousness or whatever. And Belial has like the Armored Darkness form, which I always found, I mean, it looks pretty cool, but I mean, it's pretty alright, I guess. But when Ultraman Belial is fighting Ultraman Zero in his consciousness, you don't see the Armored Darkness form anymore, you just see the regular Belial. And then Ultraman Zero transforms to the Shiny mode. Now I thought it was really epic that Ultraman Zero defeated Ultraman Belial with this most powerful mode, but I wish Ultraman Belial had a really powerful mode to go with Shining Zero, like Shining Zero or Darkness Belial or something like that. I don't know, I can't think of any names in time, but it would have really been really cool to see that. Otherwise, you just see Ultraman Belial get his butt kicked so easily by Ultraman Zero, and then it gets even worse with Shining Zero. But I did like the way how like Ultraman Zero just, he like reaches, he throws a giant size, and literally pushes Ultraman Belial out of his consciousness, reverses times, and sends him to another time zone, or timeline, or dimension, whichever one it was. So here you have Ultraman Belial. I mean, I'm not really sure if you can count him as dead, per se, but he is gone in a sense. And then, Ultraman Belial was gone, and I was like, okay, I don't think that was as great as a way as it was to finish. I don't think the battle was as grand as it was in Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legend, because there was like so many Ultras and so many monsters fighting each other. And Ultraman Belial did use Barrydor, which was like the ultimate Chimera monster. But I also really liked this way, because it was like a one-on-one solo. It felt so personal, because of the fact that Belial had appeared like 3 times. So the fact that Zero was finally defeating Belial for the first time, it felt so personal too. So I didn't mind this way in terms of how Belial was defeated. It didn't feel as it didn't feel as grand as, Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legend or Revenge of Belial, but it felt very personal, and I guess that's what made it satisfying to me as well. Now, we're gonna go to Ultraman Ginga S, the movie. Now, this movie, believe it or not, Ultraman Belial is a minion. Good lord! Ultraman Belial went from being a character in his first appearance, he had 300 monsters as his minion. In his second appearance, he had an entire empire at his disposal. In the third movie, he had some of the most powerful aliens from the Ultraman series, like Alien Mephiles was on his side, Glowzam, the immortal monster, was on his side, along with Tyrant, who defeated the entire Ultra Brothers, except for Ultraman Taro, were on his side. And then in this movie, Ultraman Belial is a minion. I mean, whoa. Ultraman Belial went from being on top of everyone to literally being below someone else. Now, I like Telger. Telger, of course, is one of my favorite villains. And I didn't mind Dark Mephisto being a pawn to Ultraman Belial because that really made sense. Dark Mephisto in of itself was already a pawn to Dark Zagi. So seeing Dark Mephisto as a pawn to a Telger, it was just like, okay, he's just a pawn of someone else. But in general, his character was always in a sense a pawn. So it made sense. I didn't mind seeing Five King as a pawn because he was the pawn of Alien Shibu. I didn't mind seeing Alien Saran being a pawn because Alien Saran isn't really the most powerful or legendary character. He's just kind of mediocre to me. Alien Emperor, on the other hand, that's another character that I was really shocked because similar to Ultraman Belial, and even before Ultraman Belial, Alien Emperor was like the dark being, the one who waged war against the land of light and turned the entire sun into darkness. And then he gets killed without Ultraman Mebius having to turn into his Brave Phoenix mode. He just turned into like his Phoenix mode and defeats him with the Taro Storium. I mean the Taro Mebium Dynamite attack, I believe what it was called, where he just blows him up. I mean, I wasn't really too big on that, to be honest. So Ultraman Belial, again, as I was stating, was like a minion. I was just like, oh snap, this is literally what it's gone down to. But again, I like the Ultraman Zero fight because, you know, Ultraman Zero, I thought like Ultraman Zero, he was walking up to Ultraman Belial and it felt so personal because, you know, it's like Ultraman Ginga and Ultraman Cosmos, they're like standing there. They're getting to their poses. Like, if you look within the fight, if you ever watch the fight, Ultraman Ginga and Ultraman Cosmos, of course, they're like the main characters in the movie. They're just standing there for the other Ultraman characters because they're like, oh, okay, the Ultraman, they obviously got this. But as soon as they land and they see Ultraman Belial appear, Ultraman Ginga Victory and Ultraman Cosmos get into their stance because they're like, it's Ultraman Belial. This is obviously a big threat to our plans to stop a Telger. But Ultraman Zero is like, no, man, it's just me and you, Belial. And Ultraman Ginga Victory and Cosmos are like, okay, man, good luck, because you're gonna need it. And then it gets so personal because you see, like, Ultraman Zero walk up to Ultraman Belial and it's playing the Revenge of Belial Zero theme. It's like, dun dun dun. I mean, it gave me chills, and especially after I saw it in the theater, I was like, Mom, this stuff is gonna get down right now. It's like, you see, like, Ultraman, you hear, like, the muscles, like, you know, stretching because they're, like, getting ready to fight, and the fight feels so epic. And then later on in the movie, Ultraman Zero uses all three of his forms to defeat, finishing off with Shiny Mode, of course, to finally destroy a Telger. A Telger goes to like 3 levels of a Telger ship and gets blown up in this huge explosion. I mean, it's really interesting. I felt like the fight, it didn't feel as personal as the Ultra Zero fight because there were so many other fights going on, so it just felt like that was more like a side battle. It's like, eh. But, I mean, the Ultraman Ginga Victory and Ultraman Ginga Victory and a Telger fight, that was like the main focus, of course. But you had Ultraman Zero fight with Belial. It was a pretty good ending to Belial. But I mean, it wasn't like as focused or as personal or as grand. I mean, it was grand scale, but Belial wasn't like the focus of the fight. So after I saw the movie, I was like, I'm not sure if I was the biggest fan of Belial and Alien Emperor being pawns to a Telger as much as I love a Telger because a Telger didn't really have the build up as Belial and what's his face, Alien Emperor, because Alien Emperor had in the final episodes with the 4 Heavenly Kings, you definitely saw his presence when he blew up Alien Mephiles. I saw Alien Mephiles, you know, he's retreating, and as soon as I saw him get blown up, I was like, whoa, what is going on here? And then Alien Emperor comes down and is like, all hell breaks loose, and I'm just like, man, and even Zafia has to come in. So, Alien Emperor, similar to Ultraman Belial, had a lot of build-up and was extremely powerful. Both characters were built out to be these dark, menacing beings. And as much as a Telger is, I don't think a Telger has ever, like, waged a grand-scale war or would even consider attacking the Land of Light like these two beings have done in the past. So that's why I kind of felt like a Telger, it just kind of felt odd. It's not that I hated it, because don't get me wrong, I still love a Telger for the character that he is. Maybe I'm just blinded by my love for a Telger, but it just didn't feel as it just felt odd. I'm not saying that I didn't like it, but it just felt peculiar and odd. It was a weird feeling that I got for seeing these kind of beings being pawns to this new guy, the new guy in town, pretty much. It's like if you have the veterans of fighting and stuff, and then they become like pawns of this new guy on town or something like that. You know, I don't know how to explain it like that, but it was just a bit odd. So once I saw that, I was like, I mean, Ultraman Belial, he didn't really get finished off in the best way, but I mean, at least he had a pretty successful defeat in a sense. And then Ultraman Orb came along. And my god, Ultraman Orb really changed Belial. Belial went from being the most evil character in Ultraman, from freezing M78 to torturing Ultraman Zero and his friends, to starting an empire to conquer that one princess's planet, to pretty much being a good Ultra while still being darkness. I mean, when I saw the Ultraman Orbs episode where they finally revealed Thunder Breaststar, I definitely saw, Ultraman Belial's aggression. He was extremely aggressive and such, but it just didn't really feel right. I mean, I guess I liked it how Ultraman Belial resisted against Guy at first when he tried to use the form. That was pretty a good sequence in my opinion. But the thing is that later on, in the final episode, believe it or not, when all the Ultras from Ultraman Orbs fusions appear, Ultraman Belial, believe it or not, appears alongside Zafi, Ultraman, and all the other Ultras that he's feuded with past, like Taro and Mebius. I mean, these were all Ultra characters that Ultraman Belial pretty much killed in a sense before they were revived. And now he's like fighting along with them to defeat Magatano Orochi and save Earth? I mean, wow. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's really ironic because I watched the Ultraman Ginga S movie English dubbed yesterday, and in the movie Ultraman Zero was like, "I'll take care of this traitor to our people." And then as soon as I thought about that, I thought back to the Ultraman Orb scene, and I was like, I'm not really sure if Belial is a traitor anymore. He kind of sided with you guys. I mean, I'm not sure what to think about that. I mean, Ultraman Belial, he had this weird transition. He went from being the guy, again, I know I keep on repeating myself, and I just gotta restate my points. He went from being the guy that froze M78 to the guy that started his own empire and conquered so many planets and such, and had the Arch Belial form, which put up a big deal for the Zero Squad. And then he tortured Ultraman Zero and just killed all of his friends off, pretty much, losing their trust, and building the Darkness 5, which consisted of some of the most powerful and iconic Ultraman aliens and villains. And then he becomes a pawn of a Telger and gets killed off with all the other characters. And now he's on the good guy side. Like, how do you transition from that? That's like, oh man, that's like if, let me think. That's like if the Joker was fighting alongside the Justice League or something. It just wouldn't make sense. Now, Jugless Juggler, I can understand that. Because Jugless Juggler had a transition, It wasn't just forced out of nowhere. He wasn't the most evil being. Ultraman Orb and Jugless Juggler, they were originally friends. And you could say the same thing for Ultraman Belial. They started off in a light form, but he was just corrupted altogether. Joker wasn't corrupted at all, really, in a sense. He just chose the darkness because he was jealous. He wasn't corrupted, but he was jealous that the light chose Ultraman Orb. And I like the story arc of Juggler transitioning. I thought it was really interesting. It was like brothers. But Ultraman Belial didn't really relate to any other Ultraman character. I mean, the only one that he related to, in a sense, was Ultra Father, Ultraman King, but they didn't really have, like, the brotherly bond or relationship or backstory with Ultraman Orb's Guy form and Juggler's human form, And that's why I'm glad with what they're doing in the Orb Origin Saga, from what I've seen, to build up that relationship and backstory even more. But Ultraman Belial, he went from being the most evil character to just being a good guy, in a sense. I mean, I could complain about Alien Emperor, but at least in a sense, Alien Emperor is still evil. At least he was still evil. At least he only appeared twice, He didn't appear as many times as Belial, and he probably wasn't even as strong as Belial. So I'm just really just shocked at the transition. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Tell me guys in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Ultraman Belial? I want to quote Ryan here, Ryan Zeton here. I always mention Ryan Zeton whenever I do an Ultraman video, but I'm going to quote him on this. He says, villains in the Ultraman series go through a process known as villain decay, where one character in a previous series or an older series is shown as to be extremely powerful, only for them in a few series later to be, just filler for the main hero. And, I'm just trying to think, like, monsters like Birdon, the original Zeton, King Joe, they've been turned into filler monsters for our main heroes just to make them look strong. But yeah, I don't want to make this video roll any longer. I was just really shocked, in my opinion, about Ultraman Bilal's transition. He went from being the guy with the most powerful staff in the universe, able to resurrect. I mean, he had the blood of Alien Ray Blood. And if you don't know who Alien Ray Blood is, he was the main villain of the Mega Monster series, because I am very knowledgeable of it, even though I've only seen like a few clips here and there. But I do know what happens in the series, though. I'm not just like ignorant about it completely. Alien Rayblood was like the main villain, and he even formed Armored Darkness. You know, he gave EX Gamora and EX Red King a run for their money. So Alien Rayblood was like the most powerful being in the Ultraman Showa universe, at least. You know, just to let you know, Alien Rayblood only exists in the Showa universe, but who knows who are the other powerful beings in the Heisei or the Ginga or the X universe or the Orb universe. You never know, in a sense. But my point is that currently in the Ultraman lore, Alien Rayblood is the most powerful being in Ultraman. He created the Battlenizers. He created the monsters just to see them fight for his amusement. And he could control monsters. But the thing is, he gave his blood and his energy to Ultraman Belial. So when you think that Ultraman Belial has the blood and the power of the most strongest character in Ultraman, only for him to get thrown off as a pawn for this new guy, a new Ultraman character known as a Telger, and then for him to be on the good guy side with the good Ultras that just a few movies ago he was beating up on M78. So anyway, I'm just saying, guys, how so much transition has occurred and how Ultraman Belial's personality and character and power has really been depleted in a sense. But yeah, I don't want to make this video drag on for more than it should be. I'm sorry, guys, if this video was too long. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Give me guys your comments below. I would love to discuss some more. I mean, if you want me to do some more of these Ultraman podcasts where I just give my thoughts and gibberish on some things that I really wanted to address, then just comment down below some things you might want me to talk about and such. I mean, the next podcast I do want to make is my thoughts on the dubbing for the Ultraman Gang S and Ultraman X movie, because I did hear some criticism about that. I mean, I do want to like give my honest opinions on it, but I'll make another video dedicated to that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Remember, be an Ultraman fan. I don't know. Shoot me.